Today, we're going to talk about something that sounds like it's straight out of science fiction, but it is 100% real. It's a story about an ancient object that forced us to completely rewrite what we thought was possible 2,000 years ago. An object that, for all we knew, simply shouldn't exist.
I mean, really think about that for a second. When you hear ancient shipwreck, you probably picture clay pots, maybe some coins, the wooden skeleton of an old ship. But what if a wreck held something so advanced it could actually change our understanding of technological history itself?
So, let's go right back to the beginning. Our story kicks off more than a century ago in the beautiful, clear waters of the Aegean Sea. And it all starts with a chance discovery that would end up changing, well, everything.
Okay, so picture this. It's 1901. A crew of Greek sponge divers gets knocked way off course by a nasty storm. They take shelter near this tiny island, Antikythera, and figure, hey, might as well see what's down there. What they stumble upon is a huge Roman-era cargo ship, sunk and filled with treasure. But mixed in with all the marble statues and pottery was something else, something really, really weird.
At first, nobody had a clue what this thing was. They hauled up this green, corroded lump of metal, and for years it just sat in a museum in Athens, pretty much forgotten. It was just a strange curiosity. That is, until one day, a crack opened up on its surface and revealed something impossible: the faint outline of gears hidden inside.
So now this weird lump of bronze wasn't just a curiosity anymore. It was a puzzle box. A 2,000-year-old mystery just waiting for the right people and, the right technology to come along and crack it open. And believe me, it would take a whole lot of patient detective work.
And man, what a journey it was. We're talking over 100 years. An archaeologist spotted a gear wheel almost right away back in 1902. But the tech to actually see inside this corroded mess, it just didn't exist yet. It took until the 1970s for the first X-rays to even hint at how complex it was. And it wasn't until 2005 with really cutting-edge CT scanning that we could finally see all the secrets it was holding.
So, how'd they do it? Well, it was this incredibly painstaking process. You had these 82 surviving fragments, right? And scientists meticulously scanned every single one. They used super high-resolution imaging to read these tiny, faint inscriptions hidden under all that gunk. Then they built these amazing digital models, putting it all together piece by piece, just to see if this impossible machine could actually have worked.
So, after a full century of mystery and decades of this intense scientific investigation, the puzzle was finally solved. And the answer? Wow. The answer was more incredible than anyone could have possibly imagined.
So what was it? What was hidden inside that bronze lump? Was it a strange kind of clock, some kind of elaborate toy, maybe even a weapon? The truth, it turns out, was way more sophisticated than any of that. Get this. That corroded lump of bronze was an analog computer. Yeah, let that sink in for a second. A complex, gear-driven machine built by ancient Greeks to make complex astronomical calculations in the 2nd century BC. This wasn't just another discovery, it was a total revelation.
And what it could do is it's staggering for the time. This thing wasn't just telling you the date. It had this whole system of interlocking bronze gears, some with teeth that were barely a millimeter long, that modeled the weird, irregular orbit of the moon. It could predict eclipses, both solar and lunar, down to the hour. It tracked all the planets they knew about back then: Mercury, Venus, Mars, Jupiter, and Saturn. It even had a dial to show when the next Olympic Games were scheduled. It was a complete cosmos in a box. The existence of this single object, it just fundamentally changes the story we thought we knew about the past. It's this technological masterpiece that seems to appear, like completely out of nowhere. And this right here is why it's so important. Our general idea of ancient Greek tech was that it was smart, but kinda simple. Basic pumps, cranes, things like that. We gave them credit for genius in philosophy and art, for sure, but not for this kind of precision engineering. The Antikythera Mechanism just shatters that entire belief. It shows a level of mechanical skill we honestly thought wasn't invented until the huge cathedral clocks in Europe in the 14th century.
It's exactly why people like the famous science writer Arthur C. Clarke have described it this way. If you think about history as this straight, linear progression of technology, this device just doesn't fit. It's an outlier. It's so far ahead of its time, it forces us to ask, what else have we gotten wrong about the ancient world?
And that brings us to the last and maybe the biggest mystery of all. It's not just about what the Antikythera mechanism is, but what happened after it.
Over 1,000 years. Just think about that number. More than a millennium passed before technology this complex shows up again in the historical record. 1,000 years of complete silence. This suggests that this wasn't just a one-off stroke of genius. It hints at a whole tradition of advanced engineering that has been almost totally erased from history.
And this is the question we're left with today. Was this thing a totally unique masterpiece? Or was it just one of many, and all the others were lost or, melted down for their bronze? Did the knowledge just die out? And if it did, how? How does humanity forget how to do something this incredible? The Antikythera mechanism solved one huge mystery, but it left us with an even bigger one. A haunting reminder of just how much of our own story we might have lost.